Lesson 11, Integrated Civics, Geography, Symbols, and Holidays. This lesson explains some of America's geography and many of the country's more important symbols and holidays. The lesson is divided into 4 sections. Geography, Symbols, and Holidays, Section 1. We will now begin the first section of Lesson 11. The United States contains a wide range of landscapes. These include the Pacific Coast and Rocky Mountains in the west, and the deserts of the southwest. In the center of the country are the Great Plains and the Missouri and Mississippi River systems. Along part of the Canadian border are the Great Lakes, and in the east are the Appalachian Mountains and Atlantic Coast. In addition, there are the tropical islands of Hawaii and the icy mountains and wilderness of Alaska. Much of the territory that is now the United States was purchased from other countries. One of the largest purchases was made in 1803 when President Thomas Jefferson bought Louisiana from France for $15 million. The Louisiana Territory doubled the size of the United States, allowed for easier trade along the Mississippi River, and greatly encouraged westward expansion. The 2 longest rivers in the United States are the Missouri River and the Mississippi River. They are part of the same river system and together form the 4th longest river in the world. Both rivers have been used for trade, transportation, irrigation, and food since before Europeans came to America. The Missouri River is the longest river in the United States. The Missouri meets the Mississippi River north of St. Louis, Missouri. The Missouri became part of the United States with the Louisiana Purchase. Because the source of the river is far west of St. Louis, the Missouri became a main route for westward expansion. The Mississippi River is the 2nd longest river in the United States. It begins near the Canadian border and ends at the Gulf of Mexico. Mississippi comes from a Native American word that means Great River. The Mississippi was the western border of the United States from 1783 until the purchase of Louisiana in 1803. Mark Twain is sometimes called the father of American literature. He grew up near the Mississippi River and was a steamboat captain before he became a writer. He later moved to Hartford, Connecticut, where he wrote his most famous books, Life on the Mississippi, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, and Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. All 3 books take place at least partly on the Mississippi River. Mark Twain's house in Hartford is now a museum. The 2 largest oceans in the world are the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean. The United States is located between these oceans. On the east coast is the Atlantic Ocean, and on the west coast is the Pacific. The Pacific Ocean is the largest and deepest ocean in the world. The Atlantic Ocean is the most traveled. This is the end of Section 1. We will now practice the related civics questions. Question 71. What territory did the United States buy from France in 1803? Louisiana. The United States bought Louisiana, or the Louisiana Territory, from France in 1803. Question 88. Name one of the 2 longest rivers in the United States. The Mississippi. The Mississippi is one of the 2 longest rivers in the United States. The other river is the Missouri River. Question 89. What ocean is on the west coast of the United States? The Pacific. The Pacific Ocean is on the west coast of the United States. Question 90. What ocean is on the east coast of the United States? The Atlantic. The Atlantic Ocean is on the east coast of the United States. Geography, Symbols, and Holidays, Section 2. We will now begin the second section of Lesson 11. The United States has 50 states and 5 major territories: Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, American Samoa, the Northern Mariana Islands, and Guam. Puerto Rico and Guam became U.S. territories as a result of the Spanish-American War. American Samoa is part of a larger chain of islands that were officially partitioned and colonized by the United States and Germany in 1899. The U.S. Virgin Islands were purchased from Denmark during World War I. At that time, the United States was concerned that Germany might seize the islands and set up a submarine base there. During World War II, the United States recaptured the Northern Mariana Islands from the Japanese. After the war, the islands were administered by the United States, and in 1986, they officially became a U.S. territory. Territories are U.S. possessions and do not have full representation in Congress. Instead, each territory has one non-voting member in the House of Representatives. Residents of all U.S. territories, except for American Samoa, are U.S. citizens. As U.S. citizens, they can vote or run for office if they become a resident in one of the 50 U.S. states. In contrast, residents of American Samoa are self-governing American nationals. They can only vote or serve in their local government. However, as American nationals, they can freely work and travel in the U.S. Like other non-U.S. citizens, Samoans can naturalize through the standard N-400 application process. The border between Canada and the United States is the longest border in the world between the same two countries. It is also sometimes called the longest undefended border in the world. 13 American states border Canada. From east to west, the states are Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Minnesota, North Dakota, Montana, Idaho, Washington, and Alaska. The U.S.-Mexico border is one of the busiest borders in the world. 4 states border Mexico. From east to west, they are Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and California. All 4 states were originally part of Mexico. The capital of the United States is Washington, D.C. In 1790, Congress approved the creation of a national capital along the Potomac River. Question 91. Name one U.S. territory. Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico is one U.S. territory. The 5 major U.S. territories are Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, American Samoa, Northern Mariana Islands, and Guam. Question 92. Name one state that borders Canada. New York. New York is one state that borders Canada. The 13 states that border Canada are Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Minnesota, North Dakota, Montana, Idaho, Washington, and Alaska. Question 93. Name one state that borders Mexico. Texas. Texas is one state that borders Mexico. The four states that border Mexico are Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, and California. Question 94. What is the capital of the United States? Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is the capital of the United States. D.C. stands for District of Columbia. Geography, Symbols, and Holidays, Section 3. We will now begin the third section of Lesson 11. The Statue of Liberty in New York is probably the best-known symbol of the United States. The statue is a gift from France and symbolizes freedom and democracy and the friendship created between the two countries during the Revolutionary War. The statue depicts the Roman goddess of liberty with a broken chain at her feet. She is also holding a torch of enlightenment and a tablet inscribed with the date the Declaration of Independence was adopted, July 4th, 1776. Because the statue is on Liberty Island in New York Harbor, once it was opened in 1886, it became the first thing many European immigrants saw upon arriving in the United States. The United States has had many flags, sometimes even more than one flag at the same time. Most of the designs, though, have included one star for each state. This meant the flag had to be changed each time a new state joined the Union. The official U.S. flag now has 13 stripes to represent the original 13 colonies and 50 stars for the 50 states. The 50th star was added in 1959 when Hawaii became part of the United States. The U.S. national anthem is the Star-Spangled Banner. The song came from a poem written during the War of 1812. The morning after the British bombed an American fort, an American sailor, Francis Scott Key, was inspired when he saw the U.S. flag still flying over the fort. The song has 3 verses, but traditionally only the first verse is sung. The Star-Spangled Banner was made the official national anthem in 1931. This is the end of Section 3. We will now practice the related civics questions. Question 95. Where is the Statue of Liberty? In New York. The Statue of Liberty is in New York. Other acceptable answers are in New York Harbor, on Liberty Island, in New Jersey, near New York City, and on the Hudson River. Question 96. Why does the flag have 13 stripes? The American flag has 13 stripes because there were 13 original colonies. The American flag has 13 stripes because the stripes represent the original colonies. Question 97. Why does the flag have 50 stars? The American flag has 50 stars because there is one star for each state. Because each star represents a state, or because there are 50 states. Question 98. What is the name of the national anthem? The Star-Spangled Banner. The name of the national anthem is the Star-Spangled Banner. Geography, Symbols, and Holidays, Section 4. We will now begin the fourth section of Lesson 11. There are 10 national holidays in the United States. However, they are only official holidays for the federal government. Each state decides whether to recognize a holiday or not. Originally, each holiday had a fixed date. Then, in 1968, Congress moved some holidays from their original date to a Monday, so workers could have a long weekend. The other 5 holidays, New Year's Day, Independence Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, are still observed on their original day. All 10 national holidays are observed in Connecticut. The first holiday of the year is New Year's Day. The holiday is January 1st and marks the beginning of the new year. Although the holiday is January 1st, the celebration actually takes place the night before on December 31st. That day is called New Year's Eve. On New Year's Eve, people count down to midnight, the official beginning of the new year. The first day of the year, New Year's Day, also marks the end of the Christmas and holiday season. Martin Luther King Day is the third Monday in January. It celebrates the birthday of the most important civil rights leader, Martin Luther King Jr. King fought for civil rights and worked for equality for all Americans. He wanted to ensure that people would not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Martin Luther King Day is the newest national holiday and was first observed in all 50 states in the year 2000. President's Day is also called Washington's birthday. The holiday was originally created in 1879 to honor the father of our country and first President of the United States, George Washington. In 1968, Congress moved Washington's birthday to the third Monday in February. That meant the holiday would never be on his actual birthday. Also, since President Abraham Lincoln's birthday is in February as well, this holiday is now called President's Day and used to honor all U.S. presidents. Like George Washington, Abraham Lincoln is one of the most important American presidents because he also did many important things. For example, Lincoln led the United States during the Civil War, saved the Union, and freed the slaves. Memorial Day is the last Monday in May. On that day, citizens honor those who have died fighting for America. To commemorate the dead, many towns have a parade. The day also marks the beginning of the summer vacation season. Independence Day is July 4. On the 4th of July, Americans celebrate the adoption of the Declaration of Independence. Firework displays are held in many cities throughout the country, and people often have picnics or barbecues. The first Monday in September is Labor Day. Labor Day became a national holiday in 1894 to celebrate the contributions of workers and the labor movement. As with Memorial Day, parades, picnics, and barbecues are common on Labor Day. Labor Day also marks the end of the summer vacation season. Columbus Day is the second Monday in October and honors Christopher Columbus as the European discoverer of the Americas. Columbus Day was made a national holiday in 1937. Veterans Day is November 11th. Veterans Day honors everyone who has served in the armed forces of the United States. November 11th was chosen because the First World War ended on that day. Like on Memorial Day, many towns have a parade to honor the military on this holiday. Thanksgiving is the fourth Thursday in November. Traditionally, the holiday was used to give thanks for the autumn harvest, but now it is a day in which people give thanks for what they have. A traditional Thanksgiving dinner includes a turkey and pumpkin pie. Thanksgiving is often viewed as the start of the Christmas and holiday season. Christmas is December 25th. It is the most widely celebrated holiday in the United States and the most important holiday for many Christians. On Christmas, most Christians celebrate the birth of Jesus. However, whether someone is Christian or not, on Christmas, friends and family often exchange gifts and have a special dinner like on Thanksgiving. Some of the many elements related to Christmas are Christmas trees, Christmas lights, Christmas music, nativity scenes, wreaths, and figures of Santa Claus, a mythical character who brings toys to children. This is the end of Section 4. We will now practice the related civics questions. Question 69. Who is the father of our country? Washington. George Washington is the father of our country. Question 70. Who was the first president? Washington. Washington was the first president of the United States. Question 75. What was one important thing that Abraham Lincoln did? He freed the slaves. Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. He also saved the Union and led the United States during the Civil War. Question 85. What did Martin Luther King Jr. do? Fought for civil rights. Martin Luther King Jr. fought for civil rights and worked for equality for all Americans. Question 99. When do we celebrate Independence Day? July 4th. We celebrate Independence Day on July 4th. Question 100. Name two national U.S. holidays. Christmas and New Year's Day. Two national U.S. holidays are Christmas and New Year's Day. The 10 national U.S. holidays are New Year's Day, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, President's Day, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Columbus Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. This is the end